Marcus get injured by this swarm. Tether. The shuttle pulls Brian's cable, killing him. Brian tries to call Marcus after returning to the shuttle, but the systems are down. He misses the swarm while returning to Earth. Moon holes. Brian saves the ship and is lauded. After a year and a half of research, no one believes him, and Jacinda cannot help him. She was exhausted. NASA fired Brian. Brenda and Sunny live with Brenda's mother after losing their house. Casey Houseman sneaks into the desk computers at the University of California after 10 years as a janitor. He calls Chile's National Observatory as a professor to seek a moon orbit file. He then works briefly as a fast food cashier. He checks the telescope's email. He was right. The moon is nearing Earth. NASA ignores his medical calls. The only public phone line connects to NASA's souvenir shop, not management. Jacinda works early. After instructing Michelle, she headed to the grocery store, visits the Space Center, and finds the moon's trajectory changed. Their moon satellite discovered unusual energy. Crater floor hole. Casey travels to the museum after seeing Astronaut Day on the newspaper his cat peed on. He takes a school trip. Casey argues. He thinks the moon is hollow and alien-built by his owner, who claimed he owed months of rent. Brian escapes via a window and goes to the museum, where Casey quickly presents his discoveries. Since Brian does not trust him, security removes him. Casey says goodbye. Brian catches and throws his study materials. Brenda calls Brian to turn on Sunny. His high-speed police chase grabbed headlines. A few days later, Brian destroys Sunny's hearing by over-talking. He lied for his child. The judge must jail Sunny until the hearing. Brian then calls Brenda's new husband, Tom, who pays the bills, to quarrel. To discuss the council. Kate tells his mother in retirement that nobody cares. Listen, so she will not forget. Jacinda shows NASA Deputy Director Albert Hutchings their latest findings. The moon's irregular trajectory means debris will hit Earth in 3 weeks. Will land. Jacinda wants to return to the moon, but Albert wants silence until they find a solution. The request is too late, as an unknown source put the content online. The court denies Brian's bride to release his child. Due to the news, many are departing the city, leaving him little time to communicate. Brian's unaware. Albert announces a lunar probe on TV. No worries, we're scouting. Brenda wants Sunny released, while Tom wants to leave the city. Tom's lawyer will release him to Colorado if he lies. Them. NASA satellites track crowds, riots, and looting globally. Diagnostic SLS Block 2. Post-announcement newscasts examine plots. Big buildings. Brian returns to the museum for trash. After locating Casey's paperwork, he checks Casey's website and finds a meeting he must schedule immediately. NASA sends a probe down the hole. Jacinda's dark swarm comes as the computers show the moon's course altering again. Mission eliminates SLS residents. Brian spots Casey during Casey's hotel conference. Conspiracy thinkers who cannot distinguish truth from nonsense. Brian explains at a restaurant why Casey knew before NASA. Casey has spent years searching faraway worlds for megastructures. Moon surprise. The megastructure inside the moon must have changed course. High seas and storm surges in coastal communities raise concerns about the moon's changing effects on Earth. Conventioneers are stranded by city floods. Brian guards them upstairs. Casey is rescued by Brian. Remove him. The mission video convinces Jacinda and Albert that the swarm is communicating. Smart is AI. Jacinda succeeds Albert, a deputy. This behavior intrigues Jacinda. Albert authorizes her research. NASA's restricted area reveals Jacinda's prior voyage video. Brian was truthful, the swarm that attacked them is still there. Now, NASA veteran Holden Field addresses her questions. Apollo 11's 1969 moon landing was silent. Officially, yes. Mission Control cut the string to conceal the moon. NASA analyzed the moon's flashing lights. Because that technology was years ahead of Earth's, and they were not sure it was real. Prevent it. Money killed Zulu X-Ray 7, a military experiment. Jacinda begs the troop commanders for a solution, but they say they already have one. She warns her ex-husband, General Dov Davidson, against nuclear delivery. Even if the explosion kills everyone, Doug trusts his employees. Dismisses her. She will not leave work to meet him and Jimmy at his apartment. Issues occur. She wants Doug to bring the Zulu X-Ray 7, which has EMP and is their last chance. If she promises to return with Jimmy and Doug, he agrees. Later, Brian takes a military chopper to his hotel. Remove Casey. I do not know what to do, Casey admits as Jacinda repeats what they already know. He uploaded the news. Jacinda wants Brian because this AI swarm can recognize Earth technology. No shuttle pilot has landed powerless. If his child is liberated, Brian agrees. The station safely. The museum gives the team a decommissioned ship. Bring EMP. Unexpected earthquakes and explosions happen globally. Even close, the moon lacks gravity. Casey's megastructure idea was confirmed again. NASA's military teaches Brian EMP launches. Demonstrates how a guide will calculate by hand without a machine. Since technology fails, they will come by automobile. The base earthquake damages the shuttle. Since planes require engines, Jacinda thanks everyone. They labored before leaving. Jacinda leaves when she sees Casey counting. Launching the moon's gravity will approach 80% of Earth's. The moon's gravity can launch a rocket, providing a boost for the damaged engine. Jacinda co-pilots Brian. Casey will navigate and conduct math after shutting off gadgets. Casey calls Jacinda his mama. Michelle visits Doug. Brian arms Sunny. A powerful gravity wave destroys the base as the three launch. Before the spaceship drowns, Brian pulls it away. Enough to lure the spaceship to the moon. Off Earth. Nearby satellites power the ship. Case selfies throughout. Hurry while the moon grows. Brian personally ignites the engines toward the moon. Space debris hit the shuttle. Armed men stop Michelle and the boys on the road. Car thieves. Sunny conceals the gun in the snow before the criminals kidnap him and his friends. Jimmy's phone is stolen to prevent bunker calls to Doug. Sunny gets them a car at his mother's. The moon's proximity worsens falling moon pieces. Michelle and the boys hide in a shack until the weather improves. It goes. After the shuttle approaches the moon, Brian activates the EMP in the rover before baiting the spacecraft. A swarm ignores the rover. Shuttle pursuit. Brian smashes it, fearing the EMP is watching. The swarm attacks the ship. Following the discovery, Brian destroys Casey's phone. Leave now. Jacinda finds that it targeted them, not the EMP. Artificial settings have biological matter. Shuttle flights to the moon take 2 hours. If it failed, the military would launch nuclear missiles. Michelle and the boys arrive when Earth's wind ceases. They were shot outside his home by neighboring gunmen. Tom gets them after hearing they've arrived. Sunny has little time to meet his mother and half-sisters since he needs to urge everyone to go. The fire station provides oxygen tanks for safety. Earth suffers from the moon's atmospheric depletion. Sunny is ready for Jeek thieves this time. Before leaving in Tom's car, he kidnaps someone using Brian's revolver. The spaceship enters the moon's crater following the EMP. Casey was correct. The moon is a huge skyscraper. Power center. The shuttle emerges to EMP the swarm. Moves alone. They escape the swarm when a door opens and a light comes on. Shuttle in, close the door, and leave the swarm outside. The shuttle crashes, knocking out the 3 passengers. The same light scans them as the shuttle opens. After too long, the military is ready to unleash nuclear weapons. Tom fires at the thieves as Sunny stays clear of debris. When the ground opens, Sunny escapes. Doug calls to say he cannot after they depart. After the rocket launch, they must stay. Oxygen depletes and birds die. The family wears masks before walking. Jacinda and Casey wake up to the moon's gravity and breathe. Brian is nowhere. Casey thinks it is a trap, but they leave via the door. One of Jacinda's 2 spirits is trying to escape. Aid them. Brian awakens in a strange room and chats with an ice ghost. With him, like mimicking Sunny to explain. Billion-year-old people enjoyed technology. Earth has not considered. Then their AI revolted. Nanotechnology swarms pursue everyone. The moon-like spaceship transported ancestors. Only Earth could support life at the optimal distance from the sun. The moon's AI connecting with Brian needs personnel. To re-orbit the moon, groups must exit the core. Brian flees the strange light as Jacinda and Casey find him. After the AI fixes something, Brian tells his friends about the fight. The EMP is stronger and can destroy the swarm. Brian plans the nukes last 10 minutes. Tom brings his daughter's empty oxygen tank to Earth and tells her to continue. Tom dies without her. Sunny helps the girl locate her family, but not Tom. When air slowly returns, Sunny gets caught by falling stones as the moon approaches Earth. Michelle rushes to help him escape. The moon reunites them when she finds him under a fallen tree. Return to Brenda and the daughters after jumping over the broken bridge. The moon's weight destroys cities worldwide, so the military attacks. Use nukes. Dad hesitates, trusting his wife. Conserves Earth. Bombs destroyed the bunker. Trash too. Brian fools the swarm by building a tunnel and instructing Casey to prepare the EMP in the rover. Since the swarm requires an energy building to survive, he remains with the EMP while his friends escape in the spaceship. Casey leads as Jacinda and Brian dispute. The EMP bound him to the sacrifice. As he departs, he apologizes and asks them to tell his mom he is a hero. Brian respects physicians by calling. After the swarm consumes the rover, Casey explodes. The EMP, which kills it when Jacinda lands the ship on Earth. The moon and weather stabilize once the swarm leaves. Earth's normalized. Jacinda and Brian leave the shuttle for a wrecked and snowed in New York. Military planes return them home. The friendly AI hunting for Casey is talking to Casey on the moon. It maintained Casey's awareness and made him behave like his mother. He can help the AI rebuild for a better future as a moonling. Come and watch till the end. 3 policemen notify Patrick, a farmer, that his brother, sister-in-law, and niece died in 1985. Only Jane, his older sister, survived. A bloody home corner found her shaving. Jane photographs abandoned houses. After the horrific event, she went to a foster home and forgot about her upbringing, family, and the day. She and Alan had Alice. Jane's relationship with Alan and Alice is strained due to her forgetfulness and school pickups. Jane visits her old residence while looking for new filming sites with Alice. She takes multiple pictures without understanding what they are. Alice communicates with a hidden Jack owner as her mom works. Jane calls the county assessor for this farmhouse's property records at home. Late night doorbell. Jane opens the door to find a parcel with the Jack Alice discovered and an unexpected bug. Jane obsesses over her final property after printing the picture. She forgets Alice until Alan calls. Jane fetches Alice. Alice allegedly called while driving. A woman says, Jane crashes after seeing a blonde girl. She wants you to come back, she says again, making her faint. Jane wakes up in the hospital, forgetting Alan and Alice. The accident made her forgetful, the doctor tells Alan. Liam, a therapist, promises to help Jane recall. Several hours later, Jane follows a ruckus outside her door to find Susie, the blonde girl she saw on the road. She tries to approach Susie, but she hides, and Alan and Alice, who are leaving for the night, stop her. Jane recalls them. After testing with Liam, Jane goes to bed and looks at many family photos to remember. A knock on the door awakens her from her sleep and reveals a box like the one at home. Dancer and agricultural scene on this box. The accident date broke Jane's heart. After hearing the doorbell at home, Alan hurries outside to get a crucial letter in an envelope. The next day, Alan gives Jane those papers and shocks her by informing her that the farmhouse belongs to her and that her Uncle Patrick has been taking care of it. Liam feels a visit would help Jane forget seeking these papers and having an uncle. Jane asks Patrick about her. Jane's visit surprises Patrick. Jane does not think of Susie when the family sees Patrick a few days later. Patrick regrets sending Jane into foster care, but he wanted her to have a good life. Jane asks Patrick about her family after obtaining the home key. He claims they died at home. Jane remembers his support, but not him. Jane then expressed concern about her family's agricultural trip. She goes out the back door for air. She follows a strange sound to the field center and finds a red balloon with a key and a welcome home note. Alan and Alice find Jane's old bedroom. Alan must locate Jane's sister's room key. Alice cannot unlock an old music box and its toys. Alan locks the door. The next day, the family visits the town. Jennifer, an antique shop clerk, shows Jane a framed 1985 newspaper piece with a narrative about the event suggesting Jane was to blame. Liam calls Jane to confirm their meeting today. Jane can see Liam in the store, but he claims to be at his office. After calling, Jane follows Liam into the hay bale labyrinth. She is lost. Breaking walls, she departs. Jane rushes to her car and finds another little box. She opens it. Jane opens the package and sees half a picture of herself as a child, her fuzzy-faced mother, and her sister Susie. They will hear her. Alice wakes Jane up at home. Jane is confused and follows Alice to Susie's room, recalling her mother giving her sister the music box. Her daughter believes Alice is dead, and her mother and Susie's ghosts approach Jane. Jane observes Susie's device. Jane panics and rushes to her old room to discover her younger self shaving. Jane wakes Alan. While Alan sleeps, Susie crawls out from under the bed to tell them Jane has come. Jane leads Susie to the closet. After much fighting, Jane blinks and is in Alice's room with her daughter, holding Susie on the floor. Jane discovers a jack in her room after Alice jolts her mother. The next day, Jane sees Patrick for answers. Patrick says his brother was an alcoholic and quick-tempered worker who never abused his family. Jane saw the disaster alone. Alice apologizes for keeping Jane up all night at brunch. Jane asks Alan to take Alice to the lake before clarifying. Alice wants to go home after getting her wish since she feels terrible there. Jane enters Susie's room after Alan and Alice leave. Balloon keys open doors. After searching, she follows Susie through the ancient barn window. Jane finds their sheep fort in the old barn. The fort has Susie's asthma medicine, a Swiss Army knife, and Jane's key. Jane is warned to leave by Susie. Susie helps Jane escape the fort. Jane moves the sheets to the field. A box holds an old razor. Alice tells Alan about her weird dreams. Alice thinks her closet monster is the real menace, not Jane. Liam watches the family pack. Jane looks away as Alice races for the old barn. Susie tells Jane they must keep her. Jane clutches Alice before recognizing her. Alan comes before she does anything dreadful, and as Alice hurries back home, Alan shouts at Jane for harming his daughter as they follow her out. They are surprised to find the barn's Swiss Army knife in a smashed car wheel. Jane refuses to help Alice, who calls for help from within. She informs her parents that the monster under the bed is after her. Asthma ensued. Jane knows Susie did it. Alice and Alan descend, but the front door is locked. Jane steps back and enters. Alan asks a passing car to take Alice to the hospital while Jane looks for answers. Tag, you are it. Susie takes Jane to her room and unlocks the music box with the barn key after she performs. She finds two ballerinas matching the box and the other side of the portrait, indicating Liam is Jane's dad. Susie tells Jane to hide under the bed from the monster. Patrick brings Susie little gifts. Due to uncertainty, Jane leaves the bedroom. Liam silences her so she can comprehend. Patrick's evil. In her chamber, he assaulted Susie. Jane witnessed it from under Susie's bed. Liam slept on the couch when their parents came early. Jennifer, their mother, heard Susie asking for help and went upstairs with a tool. Patrick quickly murdered her with the instrument. Jane received her body. Patrick disregarded Susie's asthma. He chased Jane, who had enough, and fled. When the noises woke Liam, young Jane hid in the bathroom and grabbed the shaver. She retreated as Patrick approached. Jane met Liam downstairs. After falling and killing Liam, Jane forgot. After his brother died, Patrick checked on Susie, who died of asthma. Patrick gave Liam the gadget before departing to prevent issues. Jane awoke to her father's corpse. The police found her in a corner after she fled. Liam believes he did not tell Jane because he needed her to release the spirit. Jane cries and apologizes to her family, who leave as Alan comes home. He tells Jane that he left Alice with Patrick because she was better. To safeguard her child, Jane drives with a flat tire. Patrick nervously addresses Alice. He misnames her Susie and asks her to keep the game a secret. When Alan and Jane arrive, he takes Alice to the barn. He shoots, approaching Alan. Jane may grab Patrick from behind while he is glancing at Alan. Patrick wakes up confined in Susie's chamber. To avenge the spirits, Jane imprisons him. Jane visits her family's grave to start a new life with Alan and Alice. Patrick's cries for help in the old barn go unheard. Come and watch till the end. Titan International's 400,000-gallon Palacios, Texas, oil leak damaged the Gulf Stream and a local fishing village. Fishing is impossible since the local fish are deformed and worthless. Since fishing is their major industry, this is awful. Many unemployed fishermen clean the water on their boats. This harmed Sharko, a former boater. A dispersant blast from an aircraft caused him to dizzy and fall off his boat while cleaning it. This caused chemicals to appear on his face. He now has scars on half his face, an oxygen tank extension, and a blind eye. Due to a handicap, he can no longer work as a fisherman, although he was known as Sharko since he caught enormous fish and white sharks. Sharko spends his leisure time collecting oil-killed animals on the seashore and delivering them to Titan International's headquarters via snail mail so they may stink up. He also enjoys drinking at the Fisherman's Dive pub. One day, a fisherman claims that a school of mermaids surrounded his boat and attacked him, but no one believes him despite his odd stomach wounds. When the fisherman returned to the sea, Sharko speaks out. He believes there will be no more catches, so quit lying to yourself. Titan International deployed aircraft that dropped chemicals to seem helpful, but it would be foolish to expect more today. The senator who declared on national radio that they were working on it has had a lot of support from Titan International, so he is lying to make himself seem good and go to the White House. Sharko is irritated after the chat and sits in his vehicle to calm down. Breezy wants Sharko's unused boat, but Sharko vividly recalls the last time they attempted to work together. Breezy kept him waiting for 2 hours, and Sharko had to discover that Breezy had been detained. As Breezy yells at him, Sharko drives away. Sharko drinks in front of the TV every night. He turns on the radio to hear what other fishermen are doing when he misses the sea and cannot sleep. Sharko feels too enraged to hear that it is a great beach day. He departs instead. Sharko tosses an oily fish into his pickup on the seashore. He leans closer to investigate a shriek from the rocks as he prepares to depart. The mermaid is oil-covered. Sharko pokes the mermaid with a tree branch to check on her. Sharko covers her corpse under a cloth and carries it home. He struggles to pull the mermaid and his oxygen tank inside, but he succeeds. He fills the tub with ice and puts the mermaid in it while listening to the radio again, as he would to keep fish alive. Other fishermen have caught fish, but they are all shattered and unusable. Sharko looks in the mirror and covers his scars to recall his pre-injury appearance. Sharko dances around the house after catching a mermaid. The phone interrupts him. Another lawyer wants to help him sue Titan International. Sharko hangs up immediately because he does not want to repeat his sorrow for money, and no trial would restore him to his previous life. Sharko hears a peculiar sound from the restroom while drinking and watching TV in the evening. He discovers the mermaid alive and struggling to escape the tarp. Sharko grabs his pistol after closing the door. The mermaid leaps on him again. The mermaid bites Sharko's arm during their floor combat. Luckily, he brought a rope to rewrap her and bind her to the tub. Sharko raises his rifle at her and considers murdering her, but music in his ears makes him drop his gun. Sharko buys plenty of meat the following day. He cleans the mermaid's lungs with Q-tips when he comes home. He feeds her his various meats. After cutting a hole in the net, Sharko feeds the mermaid raw steak. He promises to return for supper after using the restroom. Sharko hears the tune in the restroom while watching TV at night. He brings the TV into the bathroom to watch a program with the mermaid. Sharko quotes bonanza phrases at the mermaid. This program helped his father learn English. Sharko falls asleep in the tub, unaware that the mermaid has been touching him. Sharko awakens at night to a peculiar sound. He finds Breezy has broken in and stolen the radio in the kitchen. Sharko threatens to contact the police, which angers Breezy. He destroys the radio and yells at Sharko for not giving him the boat. The bathroom sounds stop him. Breezy can navigate around Sharko and discover the mermaid in the tub. Breezy is thrilled about how much money they might earn by selling her, but Sharko says he is waiting for the water to grow cleaner before dumping her back in. Plans are halted when Breezy warns you that you cannot keep a mermaid in the pool. He takes equipment and builds a mermaid-sized glass aquarium in Sharko's living room the following morning. Sharko informs Breezy that his father taught him to take pleasure in one's profession. In return, Breezy shows him his father's smoking scars. He thinks the mermaid will help him prove himself. Sharko must warn him not to talk about her, or they will abduct her. Sharko suggests they be captain and deckhand again to calm Breezy. After the last rejection, Breezy is unsure, but Sharko informs him that he has always been harsh on him as a boss because he treats him like a son, as his father taught him. Breezy believes Sharko and is pleased to have a new father figure. Sharko fills the glass aquarium with water and drops the mermaid in after Breezy departs. She loves swimming again. Sharko prepares their evening meal. Since he loves the mermaid, he adds flowers and music. Sharko feeds the mermaid a raw steak and sits in front of the tank to eat while telling her about his dad. Due to Texas anti-immigrant policies, he struggled to obtain a job. Sharko saw his father shoot the clan away from their home when he was a toddler. Sharko has struggled since the accident, and losing his work seems like losing everything his father established for them. Sharko hears music and sees odd women while talking. Sharko opens the door to see the image of the lady standing there. She enters and feels the empty tank, proving to Sharko that she is the mermaid with a message for the sea. Everyone thanks Sharko for protecting them and being the only one who understands how harmful the oil is. To thank Sharko, the mermaid kisses him and cures his wounds. Sharko and the mermaid dance to Frank Sinatra and make up on the sofa. As he tells the mermaid thousands of fishing tales, he pulls off his shirt to show off his new muscles. Sharko informs her that he no longer wishes he had perished when he fell off the boat now that he has someone who loves him. Sharko spots automobiles in front of his residence some hours later. He orders the mermaid inside while he investigates. Sharko seems scared, showing he has been hallucinating. The fishermen, who came because Breezy informed them about the mermaid, own the automobiles. Since they caught nothing, Sharko was correct about the sea. They believe Sharko should capture the mermaid as a Groot to sell her and earn food again. Sharko fires the earth to frighten them away when his no fails. He repeats that he is the Water King and threatens to shoot them all. Fearful fishermen depart. Sharko returns to the tank where the mermaid is swimming. Her music still drives him wild, and he can still hear her concern in his thoughts. Sharko promises the mermaid they will always be together and invites her to swim. Sharko imagines them diving into the sea together at the beach as he climbs the ladder to the tank. He climbed the staircase and leaped into the tank, where the mermaid caught and ate him.